Good evening, everyone. Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to our online event, Grenada Citizenship for Indian Investors. My name is Anastasia Yanni, and I'm the CEO of Global Citizen Advisory. Our company is specializing in providing consultation services and advice regarding investment migration, regarding investment citizenship and residency programs. We have knowledge and experience about all European, Caribbean, and American programs. But the big question, what is citizenship or residency by investment programs? Why are they called so-called golden visas? To be very clear, citizenship and residency programs are the government-approved programs where investors from all over the world have an opportunity to invest into the real economies of the countries, and in return, they get their citizenship or residency. Now we have seen an increased interest to such programs. Why are such programs popular? Why there are so many people who are considering moving from one country to another? Why there is such a huge interest for second or alternative citizenship? Of course, there are several big reasons, and every family and every investor has their own reasons. But in very broad categories, the main reasons are as follows. Very big reason is when the families plan to relocate to safer or wealthier countries. There is also a big reason providing better future for children. In the world that we live now, where everything is changing and there are so many things that we cannot control, second residency or citizenship provides insurance against unknown. It is also very safe and secure environment. And of course, for the holders of passports which restrict to traveling, alternative citizenship can provide ease of traveling. Today, we will talk about citizenship of Grenada. It's a very well-known and very popular program. We will talk with you about benefits, about discuss practical steps, and discuss many questions and points that we receive from our clients. I'm very happy today to be joined by Mariam Mansouri, Business Director of Range Developers. Range Developers is the only developer that completed and delivered luxury hotels in the Caribbean. They have deep knowledge and expertise of the market. Mariam herself has been working with Indian investors and investors from all over the world for the last 8 years. So she is very qualified to provide us answers to all the questions that you might have. Welcome, Mariam.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Thank you for having me today. It's my pleasure to be on this webinar alongside with you and Global Citizen Advisory, because similar to what we do, you guys are very unique in the market. You're very good at what you do, and your client services, your reputation precedes you.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we decided to make a very practical session. So there will be very little theory, even though there will be. And now we will start with a glimpse and general information about what Grenada citizenship is all about. Before we start answering questions, let us talk a little bit about what program is all about, how you can become, how you can get the Grenada citizenship, what are the benefits, and what are the benefits of the program. Okay, so let's start. Give me please 1 second. And let's start with the presentation. So, as I mentioned earlier, Grenada program is a very well-known program. It's not a new program. It has been operational and it has proven to be uh, one of the most famous and one of the best programs. Give me 1 second so I can change the presentation. 1 second. Okay. So there it is. So let's talk why Grenada citizenship is one of the popular, because there is a reason. As I mentioned earlier, there are many programs that offer variety of conditions, but Grenada is one of the popular programs. And why is that? Because it is the program that allows families to relocate to the United States with the E2 visa. It also provides long-term, up to 10 years visas to the USA. It provides all the holders of Grenada citizenship visa-free travel to over 144 countries. And the countries include United Kingdom, all the countries of the European Union, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Brazil. What is very important now that there is no need to visit the island during application process. Everything can be done online. And in the time that we currently live in, this is one of the most attractive parts of the program. There is no requirement to reside in Grenada before or after citizenship is granted. And what is very important, information on obtaining citizenship is not disclosed. To continue that with the benefit, Grenada citizenship allows all the holders the right to live and work in Grenada at all times and enjoy all the rights, apart from one right that Mariam will discuss with us later. All family members can obtain citizenship. What is very important, citizenship is inherited. So because we know how important family is for our Indian investors, this is a very important part. All your family members can obtain citizenship. The country enjoys social and political security. Taxes are very attractive. No global income, dividend, wealth, or inheritance tax. There is no interview or language requirements. The processing time is quite fast. Even in the time of pandemic, we look at 2, 3, sometimes 4 months. And the processing fees are minimal. Who can apply? Investor, spouse, dependent children under 30 years old, parents of main investor and a spouse, and what is important, childless and unmarried siblings of the main investor or spouse. So you can see that the whole family can be covered by the Grenadian citizenship. What are the criteria? The investor has to be at least 18 years old. Of course, now it's very important that there should be absence of sanctions, restrictions, or any bans of entry to EU countries, United States, UK, and Canada. It is important to have clean criminal record, and the applicant shouldn't have any criminal proceedings for serious crimes. Impeccable personal and business reputation, very important to be able to provide source of funds. And of course, you need to have enough funds to make the required investment. What are the investment options? What is the necessary investment? There are several options. The option that we will discuss today in more detail is shares in the hotel business, where you can get shares and also enjoy the income and the benefit of owning the shares in the hotel. This mode requires $220,000 investment. And there is also possibility to invest in real estate or go for clear donation. So this was the main questions. These were the main points for the citizenship. Now, let's go to the questions and let's discuss in more detail the practical part. What are more people asking? What is their interest? It's all good and proper when you see it on a paper, but when you come to the process, that's where the interesting part begins, and that's where everyone asks many, many questions. So let's start with the big question that we get from almost all our Indian investors. Let's talk a little bit more about possibility of relocation to the United States. So let's talk a little bit about E2 visa and EB5 visa. What is the process?
Well, as you mentioned ever so correctly, Anastasia, the relocation to the US seems to be the priority for all our Indian investors. Previous to Grenada, Indian investors were pursuing EB5, which is the green card program, as a means of relocating to the US with their family. This used to cost them $500,000, excluding the fees and so on and so forth, that they would have to invest in a government approved entity in the United States. However, November 2019 changed. It changed the view for a lot of Indian investors, as well as Chinese and South African, but main focus on Indians. They changed the price to $900,000 investment in a targeted employment area. Now, a lot of our clientele do not want to invest in a targeted employment area and take the risk of having that business go under due to it being insecure. So the best option for them is the non-targeted employment area. So when we talk about the likes of Houston and LA and New York, where businesses are reveling right now, and we've even seen that during COVID. So that the price was changed to 1.8 million. So between 500 to 1.8 million is huge for an investor. Additionally, to make it that much harder, the waiting period for an Indian investor is currently 6 to 8 years.
6 to 8 years.
6 to 8 years. So basically, you invest first and then you wait 6 to 8 years. That creates a couple of problems. First of all, 6 to 8 years is a long time, Anastasia, for people that are planning to move at least within the next year or two. It's also more problematic for clients who have teenage children. So if you have a child that's 15 or 16, by the time your turn comes, that child has already turned 21 and would need to do a separate application. So a separate 6 to 8 years of waiting, a separate $900 or $1.8 million investment. In came Grenada. Now, Grenada, as you mentioned, offers global mobility, visa-free to 140 countries, extremely efficient tax jurisdiction. However, the main focus for an Indian investor was E2. How do I go to the United States without waiting 6 to 8 years and without paying $900 or $1.8 million? Now, the E2 is a treaty given to approximately 78 countries. These 78 countries include the United Kingdom. However, United Kingdom citizenship verges on, 2-3 million pounds, and then there's a wait as well. Canada, that's an immigration program. Australia, again, an immigration program. So the fastest way to obtain an E2 visa treaty is through the island of Grenada. Grenada was awarded an E2 treaty in the mid-80s as reparations of war. So what does the E2 says? It says if you are a citizen of an E2 treaty, which is Grenada, you will be able to open a business of your choice in your name, so you own your business 100%, worth $100,000 and above in the United States. Anywhere in the United States, any business of your choice in the United States.
I think this is a very important point. So, does it say clearly that you don't need to enter into joint business with someone? It is your own business, you own it, and it can start with a minimum investment, but it provides you right to live and work in the United States, not only for you, but the whole of your family.
Exactly. Now, when we mention the ownership, you can own 100%. However, For the United States, the E2 for Grenada says you can own 50% of a business. So this gives the client more flexibility. So if the client wants to take on an entire business by themselves and run it, they're more than welcome to. They're in charge of their destiny. If they have friends or family in the US where they want to become partners with them, because that's a tried and tested business and they're more comfortable doing that, they have the option of doing that. It has to be a real business that's worth more than $100,000.
That's very clear. How does it affect the family? Well, let's say the investor opens the business, relocates the family. Are there any benefits for the family, for the wife and children?
Sure. Contrary to common belief, the benefits for a family are more similar to EB5 than people have heard. Basically, when you're an E2 visa treaty holder in the United States, your children get free public schooling, just like a green card holder. Your children get in-state tuition discounts for universities, just like a green card holder. Your spouse can work anywhere in the United States that he or she may please, exactly like a green card holder. However, the difference is you haven't waited 6 to 8 years. It takes you approximately 1.5, so 6 weeks to 3 months to get an E2 visa, and you've only invested $100,000.
That sounds really amazing. And in many cases, when we discuss with our clients this route, in the beginning, the, the reaction is, it sounds too easy to be true. Is it
Exactly.
really that easy?
It is just as easy, and I'll tell you why it's easy. Because treaties are very solid. Treaties are not revoked. Treaties are not part of an immigration policy of a government. When a treaty is given from one country to another, removing that treaty is something impossibly difficult. So I'll give you an example. Over the past 3.5 years, we've seen the Trump administration change the laws on EB5. It's an immigration program, yes. They've changed the laws on L1. Again, it's part of an immigration program. They've changed the laws on the H1B. All of these jeopardize American jobs, which is fair enough and it's understood. However, an E2 is a non-immigrant investor visa. It creates jobs. It brings in investors into a country. And there's 78 E2 treaties, as I mentioned. So revoking one would have repercussions on all the other 77, such as the UK, Japan, Canada, Australia, and so on.
So this we covered now one of the points, but can you please tell us what is the process? Is it important to get the Grenada citizenship first and then you start the process for the E2 visa?
Of course. You can't get an E2 visa if you are not a citizen of a treaty country. So you would have to start your process, become a Grenadian citizen first. A lot of my clients, Anastasia, decide that halfway through, it takes you 3 to 4 months to get your Grenadian citizenship. So once we've prepared their application and we've submitted their application, they start exploring E2 options. So whether it's a franchise, whether it's a family-owned business, whether it's partnering up with somebody else, or the most popular one we've seen in the past 6 months is to acquire an existing business in the United States. So an SME that's there and the owner is ready to exit, obtaining those businesses has become a lot more popular since COVID has hit. Prices are a little bit more affordable. The books are available. So let's say a restaurant, a cafe, a corporation, a logistics company, one that is already existing has become more popular for our Indian clients to purchase.
I think that sounds like a very solid route because, like you said, the books are available, there is a history, and you have a very, very clear route. Apart from apart from the questions about moving and relocating to the United States, obviously there are lots of benefits of Grenada citizenship by itself. And the question, let's say, for mobility. Is it correct that you can get to 144 countries visa-free.
Yes. Grenada is a Grenada is a small country. It's a small island. However, their citizenship is their main source of income because it's extremely strong. It's very attractive to be able to travel without requiring a visa. I understand that a lot of clients may have multiple, 2-year multiple entry visas or 5-year multiple entry visas. But however, visa-free access, Anastasia, is very, very different. So, for example, you've got a businessman, he's with a bunch of other businessmen, and they want to sign the deal in London tomorrow. Yes, you will definitely apply and get a 2-year visa, but if your visa is expired, your business is hindered. Another point I'd like to touch on in terms of global mobility is university for the children. And this applies to all our clientele. When their kids are of a Commonwealth country that is visa free, that part after getting accepted to university, you have to go get a student visa. Our clients, that part for them, it's a piece of cake because they're already part of a visa free country. So it's not an if, maybe, will they get a student visa? Will it come in time? My clientele don't have that problem. The world is their oyster.
That sounds very good. But like sometimes we get questions that are very interesting. And you will be surprised, and I think everyone will be surprised. But very often people are interested in the program and then they ask, but where is Grenada?
Yes, that is very common, Anastasia, not just with you guys, with us as well. Grenada is in the Caribbean. It's one of the Caribbean islands. Its neighbor islands are St. Kitts and Dominica, where we already have 2 hotels that we've developed, as you mentioned in the beginning of this webinar. And it's a Commonwealth country, so the Queen of England is their head of state, and that's why they enjoy such wonderful travel benefits.
There is also, even for people who, there are lots of people who can actually consider even visiting and moving to Grenada. So can you tell us a little bit more? What is the economy of Grenada and what is the economic outlook?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, what makes Grenada very safe in terms of investment or family relocation is their government. They're a secular government, so even when we have our citizens buy investment, they're not discriminated based on race or religion or any of their beliefs. As you mentioned, the sanctioned countries, yes, they do apply because they have to prioritize, the value of their citizenship. Tourism is their second main source of income because the first one is citizenship by investment, economic citizenship. And the third one, which maybe a lot of people are not familiar with, is the University of St. George's. So, St. George's University is the highest provider of US medical residents into the United States. Studying medicine and the medical career is extremely popular, not just in India, also within us in the Middle East. And however, what a lot of clients and their children suffer from is if they study in Germany or the United Kingdom or anywhere else in the world, in order to practice medicine in the United States, they have to go through that entire process again. It was hard enough the first time around, Anastasia. Imagine doing it twice. But if you graduate from St. George's University, you are able to practice your medical residency in the United States the very next day. It is a
How
United States.
important that
Exactly. It's an accredited
whenever we mention this point to our investors, that really adds value. Because one thing that you get your alternative citizenship, you get your freedom of movement, you can relocate. But when you know that your child can get excellent education and then practice medicine in the United States, also at the lower rates,
Yes.
lower cost, that's an amazing point.
Yes. I mean, majority, 60% of St. George's University students are Americans. And exactly for that reason that you mentioned, it's much cheaper to study there. And mind you, our clients will be Grenadian, so they do enjoy certain benefits. Additionally, It's safer, Anastasia, because it's a beautiful island, it's extremely secure, and to send your child at the age of 18 when they're quite young has brought a lot of comfort to our clients, saying, you know what, fine, I don't have to send them to America, don't have to worry about that. Let me send them to a smaller island so they can't get into too much trouble, and at the same time save on the costs without any difference to them studying in the United States.
As a parent, I can definitely understand their point. And also the way you describe it and the pictures of Grenada are amazing. It's a paradise island. And
Beautiful.
unsurprisingly, we get lots of questions where people ask, can I actually relocate to Grenada after getting citizenship and maybe even work there?
Yeah. Work there, set up their own business there. And you know, Anastasia, because it's such a tax friendly jurisdiction, a lot of them prefer to open up their saving accounts there and their bank accounts there. And also, the currency is pegged to the dollar.
That sounds very good.
So, in terms of their investment in citizenship, in terms of their ROI, and alternative businesses, investments, bank accounts, just to know that the money that they invest in is done dollars, the money they receive is in dollars as well.
That is very useful information. But now let's talk about two questions that we always get asked. And the question is that the second citizenship is not allowed in India. What is the process? And also, many people don't want to lose connection to India. They want to be connected to the country, but still benefit from alternative citizenship.
Sure, that is a concern. Our Indian clients are quite patriotic and very proud of their country, as they should be. Now, there's a couple of options available to them. The main way that everybody does this so as not to break the law and not to step over any boundaries, as range developments, we only deliver products in countries where citizenship is part of the law. So this isn't some, we do people a favor. We don't. We follow the law. And Grenada has a citizenship by investment law. So, on the law in India, there's something called an OCI card, which is an Overseas Citizens of India card. What does an OCI card say? It says that if you obtain second citizenship, you renounce your Indian citizenship in India or to any embassy of India outside. It's a very quick process. It only takes a couple of weeks. You will get an OCI card instead of your passport. What does an OCI card do? It allows you to travel visa free to India at any time. A lot of our investors who have gone and come, when I used to go to India, there was a line for Indians, a line for OCI, and a line for foreign tourism and business visas, right? So the OCI card allows you to travel to India, so you always have access to your home country. You don't have to wait for a visa. Second thing that an OCI card does for you is it allows you to own businesses, commercial real estate, residential real estate, all in India. Your bank accounts, nothing has to change. You just change your status from citizen to OCI, and everything is exactly the same. None of your investments in India is compromised. There's only three things you cannot do. One, you cannot run for prime minister office anymore. Two, you cannot vote, but it's okay. You can vote in Grenada. You can still be part of the political system of your new country. Third of all, you cannot acquire agricultural land. Now, a lot of questions come up here and say, what about my previous agricultural land? What if I've already bought or inherited or so on and so forth? That is not compromised. Whatever you've had from before is not compromised. So in case you are going to purchase more agricultural land, do it before you become a Grenadian citizen, and then you're completely protected by the law.
I think here the most important point that everyone, every person who listens to our webinar should remember that it's a completely legal and clear process. You don't lose connection with your country. You don't lose the things that you own in your country. And am I right in believing that if you wish to get back your Indian citizen, you can do that?
Yes. OCI says because you are of Indian descent, so not just the main applicant and their children today, their future generations who are of Indian descent at some point may decide, you know what? We've done what we needed to do in the United States. It's been great. The kids are educated, but we're coming back home. It's been a lovely 10 years. We've used the benefits of this E2 visa. We've used the benefits of, studying in St. George's and global mobility and so on and so forth. But we want to go back home. You can always get your citizenship back by renouncing the Grenadian one, giving back your OCI card, and taking your citizenship.
Again, I think that's so important to understand for everyone that there is a route, it's clear, it's precise, and most importantly, it's not difficult.
Not at all.
Another question about taxes. We all know that taxes are always there. Can you please tell us a little bit about taxes in case you become Grenadian citizen?
Sure. Before we discuss the taxes for people that become Grenadian citizens, I'll just put up a disclaimer and say, please, in terms of your Indian taxes and Indian businesses, revert back to your chartered accountants. They will definitely advise you a lot better than I can advise you. I will use examples of what has been done so that our clients can understand the possibilities of how they can maneuver around this. So, first and foremost, Grenada as a country does not have global taxation, does not have inheritance, wealth, or there's another one, or exits tax. So, none of that exists. That you're on the safe side. The only time Grenada makes a citizen pay taxes is if the citizen owns their business in Grenada and lives there for more than 6 months in a year. So if
Clear.
you live there more than 180 days, Grenada will charge you taxes based on your Grenada income. Apart from that, there are no other taxes in Grenada. Now, what a lot
Very
of
clear and precise.
yeah. Now, what a lot of my Indian clients do, Anastasia, is even more so now with COVID, because COVID has cost us all a lot of money. Someone has to foot this COVID bill, and 9 out of 10 times it comes out of taxes. In February, there was a lot of discussions by the Indian government that they were going to tax the non-resident Indians, the NRIs that live in the Gulf, that live in the GCC, because they're not tax residents anywhere. We don't pay income taxes in the GCC. This means that when that is implemented, there will be a citizenship law tax and there will be an exit tax, similar to American citizens who pay global taxation. And if they want to give up their American citizenship, they have to pay exit tax. It's around 40%. It's quite hefty. Now, if you become a Grenadian, so you're not even an NRI, you're no longer an Indian. So a Grenadian that owns businesses in India, has tax residency outside, or is a resident of the UAE or a resident of any of the GCC countries where you don't pay tax, but you're a resident, and spends less than 122 days in the US, is exempted from paying taxes all over. The United States says if you're there on an E2 visa, you have to be there. If you are there less than 122 days, you don't pay global taxations for America. That's another advantage over the EB5. If
That's
you're
a
taxed,
huge advantage, and
huge.
it's a huge advantage. And of course, like we are not tax advisors, but we need to mention these benefits because then, if it's something of interest, our listeners and our investors can take it further with their tax advisors.
Exactly.
Now that we have gone through the processes, through the benefits, let's talk a little bit about investment itself. Because what I like about Grenada model, and what I like about working with you, that actually it's a real investment. It's an investment in an excellent asset. And let me put a little presentation where you can tell us a little bit more about these opportunities.
Perfect. So, as you've mentioned correctly, it's an investment in an award-winning hotel. Six Senses is very well known for its resorts all over the world. Even prior to COVID, Anastasia, Six Senses was a firm believer in not building in a dense area. So all that they have overall is a resorts that spread out. It's very rare that they build in high buildings and in high density areas. And as range developments, we have always worked with five-star brands. And our previous projects, as you mentioned, is the Park Hyatt Hotel in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's an award-winning hotel. Our second delivery was in the Kempinski in Commonwealth of Dominica. Again, it was an award-winning hotel. And when I say award-winning, I mean in by Forbes, by Condé Nast, by CNN Travel, by the big boys of the game. So we're quite flattered and blessed to be able to say that we are the only hotel developers that have delivered a five-star hotel under citizenship by investment. You have to hold your investment for 5 years. This makes it ever so more important for you to be with a developer that has a track record of delivery. Because if I make a purchase today and I get a citizenship for myself and my family, 5 years from today, I can resell my investment in the market through a immigration consultant, to a legal firm, through a real estate, or come back to Global Citizen Advisory, or come back to Range, where I maintain my citizenship. The new buyer will also be able to apply for citizenship for himself and his family. And that makes it a huge, huge win because a lot of people use that within their own friends and family. One investment can get, every 5 years can get a new family a citizenship. So Six Senses, exactly, it's a government approved project. Now people say, why? Why should I invest in a hotel? Why can I not just invest in a property of my own? Because the law says you have to invest in a government approved project in order to obtain citizenship. A government approved project is Six Senses by Range Developments. We have the documentation which we can share with the clients on a one-on-one basis. It creates jobs in the country, it creates tourism in the country. So, we get their citizenship and they get our investment in order to make a better country for everybody. These renderings are of Six Senses, and as you can see, again, they do not build in dense areas. They make sure people are safe, well taken care of, and happy with their investment.
I love going through this presentation because even though it's project under construction and you look at the pictures, but you can see the clarity of the lines, you can actually feel the breeze of the Caribbean. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can share this presentation with you, but the point was to go deeper into understanding what actual investment is. And I want to reiterate once again that Range Developers already delivered two amazing hotels. The Six Senses in Grenada is under construction and it's fully on track. But let's go a little bit more, even though you touched base during presentation. But because this is the question that we are asked again and again and again. And the one is like, why do you believe that investing in shares is the most reliable and is the preferred option?
Sure. See, the share structure does fall under real estate, and that's why we're an approved project. Now, it has a couple of advantages because when you invest in a hotel, obviously not one client cannot buy the entire hotel. It's not worth their while, even if they could afford it. The share structure falls under a real estate trust which has been approved by the government. This allows my investors, which I'm only allowed 575, not dictated by me, is dictated by the government. The 220,000 is also dictated by the government. However, when you're in a trust, the 575 of my investors are independent and anonymous to each other and to everybody else. The
Does it
last thing,
mean that they have more security of investment, more confidentiality?
100%. See, Grenada and the entire Caribbean being Commonwealth, very similar to India itself, if you are registered in a registry where you own a title deed, anybody can pay $10. That's the going price today. And I think the Indians will agree with me to get the registry of a certain area and see who owns what. Because it's public, it's not private. However, when you are in a real estate fund trust, you are private, you're anonymous. The trust is owned by the 575 investors. Second of all, it's not just confidentiality. More important to confidentiality is the security of all the other businesses that that client owns. I'll give you an example. If me and you, Anastasia, are owning a shared title deed together anywhere in the world, one of us commits a crime or one of our children who inherited this commits a crime in the future, the other person is implicated because we own something together. So if we went into partnership together on a title deed of a holiday home in the Caribbean, we are partners. Just the way today you would not buy property anywhere in the world, even in your home country, with someone that you don't know, why would you do that when it comes to your citizenship and put yourself at risk?
I
You
think
never
here
know.
the point is that all other structures don't give you any security and don't give you any control. This
Absolutely.
structure is very clear, but still there is question. What exactly am I buying for 220,000? Am I buying a hotel room? Am I buying half of the hotel room? Can you please expand a little bit on that subject?
Sure. You are buying one out of 575 shares in the entire resort. So you are a shareholder, you're an equity shareholder, limited liability as well, meaning if the hotel runs on a loss, you do not suffer because the hotel has run on a loss. That is to protect you. So you're a shareholder in the resort, meaning the rooms, the restaurant, the spa, the taxi service, and anything else that comes with it. So when someone holds a corporate event, you benefit from that.
That's an important point because if it's called investment, then you would expect a return on investment.
For
What
sure.
return would you expect from the shares in the sixth sense?
For sure, you would expect a return. Just like any other investment, this is no different to any other investment. The expected
You done
returns,
projection calculations. What is
we
the
have.
expected return?
Yes. So we have our projections and calculations that we had to disclose to the six senses for them to, give their name, send their staff, make the investment to be part of this hotel for sure. And we also have it based on the previous two hotels that we've had in the Caribbean. So we have an actuality of something that's actually happened, and we have projections of what should happen. It's estimated on the 220 to be between 2 to 5%. Obviously, lower in the first year of operations, just like any other hotel in the world, and it will pick up after that.
And can you please tell us when do you expect the hotel to be completed and start generating income?
The hotel will be completed at the end of the summer of 2022. However, like every other hotel in the Caribbean, and again, this is just based on experience, we never open a hotel until November of the year because that's when high season starts. So with Kempinski as well as Park Hyatt, they were both ready end of the summer in their respective years, 2017 and 2019. but we only launched to the public in November 2022 because high season starts and our clients can benefit the most.
Thank you. Also, we get lots of questions about exit. Can you please tell us that according to the law, you need to hold the shares for at least 5 years after you receive citizenship? Is that correct?
100%.
And after that, what do you do with the shares?
You have every right to do as you please after 5 years. So a lot of my clients decide to hold on to it, enjoy the ROI, enjoy the fact that it gives them free accommodation for a week, a year, because if they relocated to the US,
We haven't
they
mentioned
get,
that part.
yes. So while the hotel is under construction, my investors can stay free of charge in any of my other two hotels in the Caribbean. Once it's ready, they can stay in the same hotel, the Six Senses. So the Six Senses, Anastasia, usually goes for around $1,000 a night. The Kempinski goes for around $800 a night. So it's extremely beautiful. And if they relocate to the United States, it's a hop and a skip away. For example, Dominica's 3 hours away from Miami, so it's right there. It's the Seychelles and the Maldives for the North Americans, as what we have on our side of the world in Asia. 5 years from today, if they're an investor today, they can resell their investment. What does this mean? It means that for $220,000, if there's another person that wants to get citizenship of Grenada, client number 576, because at 75 we have to stop, comes and says, all right, I also want Grenadian citizenship. What do I do? I want to be part of the 5-star hotel because minimum investment is 220. I don't want to put 220 in a 3-star hotel, and I don't want to put 220 in, some little whatever residential apartment down the street. I want to be part of a 5-star hotel and drive revenue as well. That's when our clients play a critical role. Because if someone buys that from them, we help with the transfer, we help with the resale, we help with the documentation. We give the second buyer all the services we gave to the first buyer, transfer the share, first client keeps their citizenship for as many generations as follows. New client can also apply for citizenship with as many generations as follows.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mariam. Before we go to the questions, I wanted to share with you guys what should be next step if you are interested to find out more. We tried with Mariam to cover the most popular questions, the most frequently asked questions that we receive on a daily basis. But of course, every case is different. So I want to inform you that the way we work is that we will guide you and accompany you together with Range every step of the way. So after this webinar, should you find the information of interest, the next step is to arrange online consultation with one of our experts where we can discuss your specific situation. What is your family? How many children? What is the final aim of the process? We discuss it together with Mariam, and every step is very clear. We provide you detailed guidance, detailed information, so you know everything before you even proceed. So I think this is extremely important information. I will just share you briefly one slide that shows the process in very brief outline of how it works. And of course, we will be happy to work with you closely to discuss all the next steps. So as I mentioned, online consultation. We will need to check that you are eligible. We will provide with you, together with Range, information on all the documents and do the all due diligence on your documents before you even proceed. It's very important to understand that you don't pay full amount of investment before you obtain the citizenship. Mariam, we haven't covered it today. Can you please just outline this because it is important. It provides additional security for all our investors that you don't need to pay before you obtain the citizenship. You only pay small deposit, which is refundable, and you pay government fees. Can you please add on this point?
Sure. See, Anastasia, the reason why we do what we do, and the reason why we're an approved developer, and the reason why a wonderful firm like yours has partnered up to work with ours is because we all sit on the same side of the client until approval is obtained from the government. So, a client would pay a 10% deposit of the 220, which if he gets rejected for any reason, regardless of who's, why, background, due diligence, we refund him the 220. So the investment part, which has to do with the developer, if he gets rejected, we give back. Refundable, we give documentation for that, it's part of our contract. He pays then his legal fees, his due diligence fees, and his processing fees. Out of these, they all go to the government to check his background, to notarize their work, to look at their documentations, and to process it. That money is not refundable. No government has ever taken money and given it back. And Grenada is not planning on being the first one either. So, on average, for a family of four, just to make it easier and more practical as a conversation, you're looking to put down around $45,000. $22,000 of that is refunded to you. After that, we prepare your file, we prepare your documentation. We have an in-house legal team that does it all with you on Zoom and on the phone. Prior to that, we used to do it with you in person in India. Unfortunately, COVID doesn't allow us to do that anymore. But we're with you every step of the way, and we submit your file. Once we've submitted your file, it takes approximately 3 months to get an approval from the government. There's no money exchanged after that. When the government sends us an official approval letter for that certain client, then you have to pay the remaining amount. So if your entire application was going to cost $340,000, you had paid 40 to begin with, 22 of which is refundable to you, and the 300 pending is only paid when you have been approved. When I give you a government letter, please call the Embassy of Grenada in Dubai. Check with them. Call the unit in Grenada and check with them. We'll make sure we provide you with all the correct contacts and details where you can independently verify that you have been approved before proceeding to pay the 90% of the investment.
This is very important because there is absolute transparency. All the documents are provided to you. So there is very clear and very transparent process. Mariam, I think now we still need half a minutes. Let's go to questions and see for our next session if we haven't covered anything. So we will add it on our next discussion. Okay, we received lots of hellos. Thank you, guys. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening. Okay, the first question is about family. Can my children get benefits to study in the UK?
Benefits, not like the ones they get into the United States, to be very transparent with you. They get travel benefits. They can stay there 6 months a year without requiring a visa, therefore making their student visa process just that much simpler. But in terms of universities and discount, no, Grenada does not offer that.
Okay, let's go to another question. What sort of business can I set up in Grenada?
Any business of your choice. We would advise you, however, to the tourism industry is amazing. The F&B industry is really amazing. Grenada is actually known as the Spice Island. because of their spice trade, and gold and jewelry trade is also very popular. Majority of whom are originally Indian, I must say, that moved to there many years ago because the Caribbean cruises come, and because it's tax free for them, it just makes more sense for people to shop jewelry in Grenada.
Mhm. There was a question whether you need to transfer upfront money, which we just covered. No, there is no reason to transfer money upfront. You only pay legal fees, government fees, and small deposit, which the deposit is refundable in case your application is not approved. So again, very clear, very concise. What type of business I need in the USA and how much should be process time for visa to the USA.
Fantastic. The business you start in the USA can be any business of your choice. However, you have to show that you're able to manage that business. So let's say, as somebody who's been doing citizenship and immigration for the past 8 years, if I decided to set up a hospital, that would probably not work because that's not my area of expertise. But if I decided to open up a cafe, open up a nail spa, open up anything that is, related to what I've been doing or able to do, then you can do that in any state of your choice. And it needs to be a real business. When I say real business, this is towards all our investors. Passive investments such as real estate is not a real business. It needs to be a business that generates money and creates jobs. There's no minimum or maximum number of jobs you need to create. However, if you create one or two jobs for Americans, that would be really important when it comes to them renewing your investor visa. $100,000 and above is what you're looking at, gentlemen.
Very clear, thank you. Can we just remind once again the expectation, the expected return from the investment? We covered
Sure.
that, but because it's an important matter, can you please answer once again?
Sure. The expected return, as experience has shown us in the Caribbean with our other two hotels, is between 2 to 5%. However, kindly note that you're not doing this in terms of return or investment. This is more about capital preservation rather than capital gains, which you can acquire by selling your investment 5 years later and obtaining your citizenship.
One more question. What is the total cost involved for the process?
That depends on how old your children are, because as Anastasia mentioned earlier, the highlight of Grenada is that you can include unmarried children up to the age of 30. So, just to give you a ballpark figure, it should cost you somewhere around $300 to $350,000, all inclusive of your Grenada part. That means citizenship, investment, legal fees, government fees, everything all together. That's what it should cost you, but kindly reach out to Global Citizen Advisory, share the details of the size of your family, and we can give you an exact calculation of how much it should cost you.
That's a very important point. We provide detailed, exact calculation based on the number of applicants, the age of the children. So again, you have a really clear printout of all the costs that you will incur. Can we move anywhere in the USA after 5 years?
Yes. You have, there are families that have been living in the US for over 40 years on their E2 visas. The reason why this wasn't made public knowledge in India is because India was not a treaty country. And obviously, the EB5 was quite important to people, as it still is. Japanese, the English, Australians, Canadians, Austrians, they all live there on an E2 visa. Just to put it into perspective for you, there's 10,000 EB5s granted every year. There's 40,000 E2 visas that are granted every year.
That's a very interesting fact. Let's take the last question before we wrap up. And the question is, can you help to obtain the visa to Grenada in case I want to travel?
Yes. We would
And that's the
definitely
next question, and that will be the last one. What is the winter in Grenada?
It's beautiful. They don't have a winter.
Okay,
It's
I
a
think that
tropical island.
on this beautiful note, we will wrap up our webinar. I want to thank you, Mariam, for such amazing answers. I believe that we managed to provide lots of information to our listeners. And if you are interested, please remember to contact us to book your online consultation with our experts and with the experts of range. And let's hope that we will see you in Grenada one day. Thank you very
Wonderful.
much. Mariam, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. I look forward to meeting all your clients that are online with us right now. I see more questions keep coming. We are available to you on one-on-one Zoom calls, and Anastasia and her team at Global Citizen Advisory will take care of that. And I hope we'll be able to assist you on your citizenship journey.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.